Hello folks, welcome to the canal Channel Set. Today we're going to show you how to replace your spark plug wires and the rotor cap on the 91 to 94 Toyota Tercel. And we have lifetime warranty on the wires, and we have a problem, and we're going to show you what the problem is and how to disconnect them and how to connect them. We're going to explain the order of the cylinders. So with that, let's get started. Okay folks, so we mentioned that we have lifetime warranty on these wires, and the reason we went and got them is because this wire has been biting into this sharp edge, so we have to replace it now. So another thing, we are not representing, we're not advertising, we got a brand, but we got a new wires with a cap. It's as I said, so it's the same stuff but it's new. So and we didn't pay anything. So that's the, like we were saying, that's the number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 piston. That's the order of the pistons. The firing order is different, but the pistons themselves is 1 closest to the timing belt, the second one, the third one, and the 4 piston. So then those are the wires that are going to be connected depending on the cap as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's obvious that in this case the shorter one is going to be closer to the distributor, and then the second one is going to be the second shortest one. And so we're going to show you how we replace it, and the cap is going to tell you the number of the piston which is that wire is connected to. So with that, let's get started. Okay folks, I'm going to share this info because some people might not even pay attention to this, and most of the times that I have bought a rotor cap has a numbers. So this is for piston number 1, piston number 2, piston number 3, and piston number 4. That's the firing order on the distributor. So the number 1 goes to the closest to the timing belt. The number 2 is next to it. The number 3 is the one next to the number 2. Here is the third one, and the number 4 is the one closest to the distributor. So that's how we would connect the wires from the cap into the spark plugs. So the number 1 is the longest one, which is this wire right here. So it's pretty simple. So if you follow this pattern and you know your pistons, you shouldn't have a problem to do the timing. So in this Tercel, we're replacing the rotor cap with the wires as a kit, and we're using an 8mm socket with a flexible extension to get in the back of bolt. So we take 1, 2, 3 screws out. So now we have loosened and taken off our 3 bolts. So now we take the rotor cap off and disconnect all the wires from the spark plugs. So we're replacing this wire set because look at that damaged wire. That can make the spark not to get to the spark plug because it might jump into the block. So that's why we're replacing it. We have lifetime warranty, so we take the opportunity on doing it. And also the internals are dirty, so we are replacing them because as you can see, it has a white spots in there. They're damaged a little bit, so we are gonna replace them all at once. So as you can see, this is what we're talking about. You see the low spots and the whitish in the post, and this one is brand new. So this is going to absorb the spark from the rotor and send it to the spark plug through the wire. So it's going to be more efficient. So now what we do, we start putting our rotor cap into the rotor or the distributor, bolt it down, and then we start putting the wires to each spark plug. So now that we have put our cap back into the distributor, time to plug in all your wires, and you don't know what order they go. So if you have the old cap with the wires on it, you just reference the cylinder 1, 2, 4, and 3. So you just, instead of trying to look on the side to see the old new cap, because you can see what's on there, you reference it from the old one, and you just kind of set it on an angle that the new one is sitting at, and you start grabbing the wires from the new one, and then you reference it from the old one and just plug it into whatever cylinder it needs to go. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we just plug them in. So now what you do is you just make sure that all the wires are all into the spark plug, so then you don't have a misfire. So then you start your car, and then if the engine starts shaking bad, then you have wires that are backwards or is plugged into a different spark plug that is not supposed to be plugged into. So we start a car and see what happens. Well, folks, we wanted just to explain that when you are doing a replacement on your wires, you want to learn the piston order. So if you got a timing, for example, in this Tercel, you got a timing belt. So the first piston next to the timing belt will be the number 1, and then the number 2, number 3, and number 4 piston. So that's the order of the pistons starting from the timing belt. But the firing order is different. That's why I explained that sometimes the cap of the distributor has numbers, and that's the firing order where the wire needs to go. So when the rotor spins, it sends the spark to that specific piston. So on this scenario, we found out where the pistons are, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then based on that, we send the wire to the piston because the cap is telling us that that goes to that piston. So it's pretty simple, and we replace the wires because they're damaged and the cap has some wear on it. Hopefully this video was informative. So if you like this video, give us thumbs up, share it, and we'll see you soon with more videos here on el canal Chano Jose.